Welcome everyone to another episode of Price Targets with your host Bitcoin Jack. It's been a week, maybe 2 weeks since I recorded a video. My throat is hurting like hell. Yesterday was even worse. I didn't even have a voice. So let's try and do this within 10 minutes because after 10 minutes it's just gonna break and sound like a little baby. ETH super ripping. Nice to see. Bitcoin looking good. Litecoin keeping up on the Bitcoin pair, but losing on the Ethereum pair. And overall, market just seems to want to continue upwards. And just, I don't know, nothing new in terms of what we've been expecting, anticipating, and hoping for. Bitcoin. Last videos we talked about this exhaustive supply range being claimed. It's still being claimed, and instead of a straight continuation from last video, we actually grabbed some liquidity to the downside in this little wick last week, but recovered from it back above the weekly level. So I don't see, based on this chart, the weekly chart, I don't see any reason why this is not going to go up here. That said, there is some lower time frame resistances to be claimed, so we can look at the 4 hour, and the 4 hour clearly shows us this diagonal like kind of range here, but the grand takeaway here is higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, a high here, and then this is deviation. If you want to have a deviation actually turn really bearish, what you want to see is like you have like a low here, and you trap the range high, lose it, come down, make a lower low, and get rejected here. Bam. So that didn't happen. What I believe, talked about this on Twitter too. This is a fake out, and this is a fake out, and now we're kind of balanced, reaching into the fourth test of this. This is quite strong. Generally, you know me for saying like never trust the fourth. What kind of like makes it harder is that we had this fake out right here. The good thing is that we had a fake out down here too. This kind of like balances the actions that happened right here, and the liquidity got balanced too. So I'm gonna say don't trust the fourth. I think we're gonna consolidate here and just blast through it. Not sure if we're gonna see any chance of a retest. If it's gonna happen, I think it's gonna happen fast. I don't think we're gonna like range here for very long. I think this is just gonna get ignored and blasted through. And then this is just gonna target 13 to 14k right here. You know, at that point we're gonna have so much steam that I'm not really even sure like how long we're gonna stay here. And then the next level of interest would be over 16k, possibly all the way to 17k, and then we'll have to like start really analyzing how to move when, whether there is a good odds for higher price. Let's hop into ETHBTC, kind of super strong. A few key takeaways that we've talked about earlier. This range right here. I mean, yes, it did have some rejection right here, but then blasted straight through the range. That's incredibly impressive. But the next thing that's incredibly impressive is that it kind of like touched the middle of the range to attack the range high again, and now just blasted straight through. And this is not some kind of like measly candle right here. This is a pretty strong candle if you ask me. And then the other thing that we're looking at is this diagonal right here. It's claiming it. Generally claiming diagonals like that, especially like high time frame diagonals, is evidence of a parabolic trend developing. So basically, boop, and then we have this massive kind of like gap here, inefficiency. This inefficiency is going to be it's probably going to get filled into the trouble area that is actually this consolidation. It's kind of drawn around this one, but this is what the trouble area is, and it's not even like a huge one, but this is definitely a big resistance. If it can actually manage to go through it, then there's even more upside, but I'm not going to even front run that. There's no sense in doing that. ETHUSD, familiar chart again. Breached the resistance as we talked about last time, retested it, now it's having continuation. This chart obviously has a little bit of a trouble area right here that it's reaching into right now. I don't think it's going to be much of trouble, like a lot of trouble. If Bitcoin is going to do what it's going to do, which is, I don't know, moon to like 13, 14K, ETH probably is going to follow. There's a little bit of a trouble area right here, but I do think that this is just going to continue into descending Browning wedge target begin with. And obviously we have higher targets that are definitely possible, that I think around the range of $1,000. But let's start with this. I think anywhere between 600 to 800 is reasonable. Litecoin is looking not too bad against Bitcoin. Actually, it's looking really good. There's some cyclical parts to this chart, but the most important thing I'm looking at on this chart is this consolidation that had a fake down but nuked with falls. This is generally a very important part. And the other thing is that there's a clear 5 here into this region, and the ratios between the moves in time and in price make sense. So there's a lot of confluence for this level. There's also a lot of disbelief for Litecoin, and there's a lot of things coming up in Q4 for Litecoin and Q1. So technically, if we take some Gann calculations, I think we're going to see a correction of price upwards, and then this biggest time pivot for Litecoin versus Bitcoin is going to be in March next year. So I think this is a very logical target to be reached, and if things are very bullish, we could reach this by March, in between now and March. But this is a reasonable more short-term target. So that's 0.008-ish around. Now I want to go back to this chart where we have this descending Browning wedge on ETHUSD. Just keep it in your mind how this looks, and then go to this chart. We have a descending Browning wedge here too. We've seen them on Bitcoin, we've seen them on Ethereum. I do think this is going to break out too. And technically, the target would be all the way up to $160, $150, $170. But to be reasonable, these two are very important. Not really sure how to draw the range right here, but this could be a deviation of the range, and otherwise this entire thing could be the deviation of that range. So then it's going to be this one. The first primary target of this descending Browning wedge obviously is this one. That's the genesis right here. And if we see continuation, which we've been seeing on the others, then targets are much higher. So to summarize, we're still largely in ETH and Bitcoin, and then about 25% of everything I built over the last year on ETH has been taken to Litecoin instead of Bitcoin. So I would have taken profit anyways into Bitcoin from Ethereum. But looking at the Litecoin chart versus Bitcoin, it kind of made sense to at least put it in here. And then the second reason to be bullish might be Litecoin versus Ethereum. The question of whether that is actually going to play out, I don't know. But even if it doesn't play out, it's not actually a bad plan what I'm doing, since I would have taken profit into BTC anyways. And now I'm taking into these profits into Litecoin, which kind of makes sense. I'm not entirely going into it yet, but must we be able to reclaim this kind of range on Litecoin versus Ethereum? And Ethereum kind of stays strong and Bitcoin stays strong, then it's going to be just icing on the cake. So eyes on Litecoin versus Bitcoin as long as Bitcoin is bullish, and if Litecoin can actually rally against ETH, that's just next at present. I hope that makes sense. I'm gonna try and make a few more videos like next week, like kind of up the frequency a little bit, in case the market is actually gonna be going bonkers in September. Because then there's gonna be a lot more things happening that I can talk about. For now, until Bitcoin breaks out, I think I'm just gonna wait until that happens. I really gotta go take care of my throat and drink some teas and sleep and whatever. I'll be back. So guys, girls, take care. See you next week.